Hello, everybody. I'm not sure if anybody's there yet, but I'm just going to start by adding our other participant, Ilkka. Hello, everybody. I'm just invited Ilkka here, and I see him.
Yeah.
Hi, Ilkka.
Hey, Ben.
Hey,
good to see you.
how's it going? Yeah,
Nice.
good to see you too.
Yeah, it's really good.
How are you? How are you doing?
No, pretty relaxed now. I've just got my cup of coffee and it's a good time to have a break. And yeah, talk
Yeah,
about
I got
things.
my coffee too.
Is that a ring at the coffee cup? Or is
No,
that
it's a hockey cup. It's
with a
from Tim
donut?
Hortons. It's a donut, yeah. And there's actually a hockey puck at the bottom, and then the cup is on top of the hockey puck.
Oh, okay. It's Tim Hortons. Is that some sort of like a famous Canadian coffee shop or something? What is it?
Yeah, yeah. That's the Canadian coffee shop. Everybody goes there once or twice a day, pretty
Uh,
much.
cool.
At
Do
least
you
that
miss
was
it?
my habit when I lived in Canada.
Do you miss it? Not having a Tim Hortons in Norway?
Yeah, yeah. But we have good coffee here at my office, so I'm pretty happy. And it's free.
Oh, no, that's
Yeah.
that's quite something.
Yeah. It's okay. What are you drinking? Coffee?
Yeah, it's just black coffee. Uh,
Just black coffee.
Yeah, usually I don't. I usually have tea in the evenings and stuff and limit the more coffee to the mornings. But now I might stay up in the night for a little bit as a thanks for this.
Yeah.
Gotta do some sacrifices for science, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just like we're back on Mosaic, drinking coffee till 10 in the evening.
Yeah. Um.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess we can get started officially. We want to just welcome everybody to the coffee hour. I think it'll take about 20, 30 minutes. And thanks to everybody for all the questions. We'll try to get to most of them, but if we don't, you still have 5 minutes in the end to ask more specific questions. So maybe, Ilkka, you want to introduce yourself just a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Ilkka Matero. I'm currently working at the Alfred-Wegener-Institut at Germany in Bremerhaven, and I'm in the mid-sea ice physics section and doing biogeochemical modeling and looking at the algae communities inside of sea ice. And on Mosaic, I was operating the ROV, the remotely operated vehicle, the underwater diving robot for studying many different things, but among those, the optical conditions under the ice and light transmission through the sea ice and snow. What about you? Who are you?
My name is Benjamin Lange. I'm originally from Canada, and currently I'm working at the Norwegian Polar Institute in Tromsø. And I was on Leg 4 with Ilkka, and I was involved a little bit with the ROV work, but mostly I was in charge of doing ridge work, so looking at sea ice ridges. These are big mountains of ice formed when two flows crash together, and they create like a mountain of sea ice. And so we were doing work on there, and we were doing a lot of ice coring. Yeah, I also helped Ilkka with the ROV, and maybe we'll get into a little bit more about what we did during Leg 4 in a bit here. And what I actually specialize in is biooptics, looking at the ice algae within ridges and at the bottom of level ice as well. So Ilkka and I have some overlapping expertise, and that's why we work together so closely during Mosaic.
Yeah, it was actually like the first time that we were really working together. We met briefly in Canada, in Winnipeg, in this conference last year.
Yeah, so about 1 year ago we met, and then we spent 4 months together, talking to each other every day, so and living together.
Yeah,
so yeah, we know each other pretty good by now.
That's true. Yeah, actually, the ROV and the coffee actually breach quite well into each other. I remember you used to have a coffee thermos every single time you came to the hut, or did you always have a coffee thermos wherever you went on the ice when you went to do some work?
Yes, that's one of my musts when I'm doing field work, is I have to have a thermos of coffee all the time. I love coffee, so I just make sure I have it. Even if it's bad coffee, I'll still drink it in the field.
How was your
Keeps
experience?
Me going.
How was your experience with the coffee that we had? Was it good or bad, the one that we got from the machine?
Yeah, it was okay. It was bearable. Yeah. I mean, I drank a lot of it, so it couldn't have been that bad.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
What do you think about that coffee?
Yeah, no, it was okay. I actually had my own with me as well, and an AeroPress, so I could have made the effort of making my own. And yeah, in the end, I just usually ended up using the machine coffee, and so it was good enough to keep you going.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't bad enough to go into your own stash, right? We're lucky we saved our stash for the Trishnikov.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there wasn't such a good machine in there available.
No, they only had instant coffee on the Russian ship, so I'm really glad we had our nice Italian coffee coming back.
The daily treats.
Yeah, that was good.
How often do you drink coffee, like at your normal office hours?
Ooh, I almost always have a coffee on my desk until about 3 o'clock is when I have my last coffee. So today, like as you said, is an exception, but I probably have 4 or 5 coffees per day.
Yeah, it's quite restrained.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, something similar. Yeah, usually maybe 3 or 4 a day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, but yeah. So yeah, over there, there's one of the things that someone was asking was that when did we have breaks? So yeah, we had some. We didn't really have coffee breaks. We usually would have a mug with us when doing the stuff, especially with the ROV when you're piloting the beast. Then you can just kind of like sometimes do it with one hand and have a quick sip of coffee.
Yeah. I guess it was quite different from being on the ice every day, like you and I and some of the people on the ship, where they actually had scheduled coffee and cake on the ship. So yeah, I didn't really get to participate in that too much, but on the ice I always had my coffee. So I just was drinking and working at the same time. And when there were breaks, natural breaks in the workflow, then I would just have a coffee, or at lunchtime have a coffee.
Yeah. By the way, there's a few questions here. How people are asking about our experience during Mosaic, and maybe should we start with that?
Yeah, sure.
I was wondering, did you have some expectations when we were going up there, and how was it? Did you find it hard? Getting everything done, and I guess you're pretty experienced on expeditions, so it wasn't such a big surprise for what it was really like, or?
Actually, yeah, my expectations was a little bit different than other cruises I've been on, because I knew from previous legs what they were doing, how much work it was. So I was expecting long days and every day being on the ice, but I was expecting more breaks due to breakup or weather or things like that. And I think we got lucky in some way that we were able to go on the ice almost every single day. There weren't too many, fog days or polar bear breaks, so that we weren't allowed to go on the ice. So it was a lot of work, and it was kind of what I was expecting. But I think the one thing that I didn't expect was to stay on that same ice flow that we were on for such a long time, because I think the expectation was that it would last 1-2 weeks, and then we'd break up, and then we would have to go find another flow. So that was probably the biggest surprise for me. And
yeah. In the end,
but
we ended up staying something like 6 weeks on the same floor, or even a little bit more.
Yeah, so that's 2 or 3 times longer than I think most people expected. And typically on other cruises, you kind of go from station to station, so you have a lot more breaks in your workflow, or other groups are working. So you kind of can catch up on your data work. You have a little bit more flexibility or unpredictability, so you can do other things other than being on the ice every day. And I know it's different for everybody, but that was from my experience, being on the ice every day and not being able to catch up on data, I guess, even though we had data slots in our timetable.
Yeah, no, that's true. That was also something I haven't been on many expeditions before, so it was a bit of a surprise for me that the days easily stretched to be something like 14 or 16 hours. And you still would have some stuff left over that you would need to catch up on later on. Like you were doing a lot of these melting the ice core samples and bottling those, and that just quite a lot of work in getting all of it done, for sure.
Yeah, and at the end, I think it just piled up. So I was doing ice core analysis for days and days and days, even at the end on the transit back. So, but you with the ROV, you had a lot of data, right? Like, how much data were you collecting in one day?
Well, it depends. So we also installed this new instrument that you actually brought, this underwater hyperspectral imager, which scans the bottom. Well, maybe you can correct me if I'm explaining it wrong, but like basically it kind of scans the bottom of the ice, and you get a spectral signature for kind of each small part of the ice. So like is it like something like 2 centimeters by 2 centimeters, and you get a spectral signature of what wavelengths are available under there, and then you can somehow invert that into information about the algal communities under ice. So that thing was producing a lot of data. So especially once we plugged that in and started really diving with this, the total amount of data per single dive increased up to 50 or 60 gigabytes. And I think the whole data set was about 500 or just over 500 gigabytes from our leg. So that's quite a bit. Yes. Split between go ahead.
That's a lot of data management. So the more data you collect, the more time you have to spend organizing it, processing it, and stuff. So I'm sure.
Also, figuring out that all the different instruments and the sensors, they work properly. So there's some quality control and checking and post processing and basically just doing basic checks that took quite some time.
So what do you think was the hardest thing about the expedition?
I think initially just the wait. So we entered the quarantine in 1st of May and had 2 weeks of quarantine, and then some time transiting up before being able to exchange with the previous leg. And so kind of just this wait to actually get to do our work. I think this was maybe one of the more challenging things, because it didn't feel like it was, we were preparing the measurements and sort of like planning the things ahead and doing some work on some papers and whatever. Meanwhile, but didn't feel like we were maybe using the time as optimally as we would have had if we had the chance to be on the ice earlier and so on. So maybe this waiting was one thing that was a bit of a challenge for me.
Yeah, I agree. That was probably one of the harder parts for me too, just the anticipation and the uncertainty, because we were supposed to be there so much earlier, and then each day it was a bit longer and a bit longer. But I think that just having that longer period of time with the other people made us bond a little bit more. And so I think we had a really good group dynamics, and that made us a lot better in the field, I think, to be able to come up with good problem solving, or in situations we were better able to solve problems, and I don't remember any conflicts during the cruise, so maybe that also helped a bit. So
that's true.
Some advantages to being together, confined space.
Yeah, and also,
But I had one other thing that I found was the hardest thing for me, and because of the long hours some days and being up till 12, 1 o'clock working, I think one of the hardest things for me some days was just getting up in the morning. But
yeah,
that's why you need coffee, right?
yeah, no, it definitely helps.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was someone had asked what was the most challenging expedition experience. This is maybe related to the 6 weekend thing that we had a 36-hour dive cycle, or it was originally a 24-hour measurement period when we were doing measurements for for us it was every 6 hours. Some people were doing measurements every hour, and so on. So yeah, this thing just lasts for 36 hours, and you have to keep going back to the measurement site and back to the ship, and having maybe 1 or 2 hours in between. This kind of keeping your head straight when doing these measurements, and like keeping yourself alert when being really quite tired. I think the tiredness was a big challenge at times.
Yeah, I agree for sure, and especially if you're operating expensive equipment like the ROV, or operating an ice core with pretty powerful drills or something like that. You kind of gotta be on alert and not make mistakes, because you can now get injured if you're tired and those things. So I saw just one comment here from Kiki about the science presentations, and I think that was one of the coolest things from during our transit up, was that we had a lot of time, free time, so we came up with some really unique ways to present science, and we didn't have a conference room, so we came up with skits and plays and songs, and each team was able to come up with their own, and so we all presented to each other what our groups were doing. So we were on the ice team, and we had a play where we went over what instruments we were using and why they were important, and each person had their role or was an instrument, and we were all telling what we were doing, and we came up with some nice songs and we sang them. So that was pretty cool experience.
Yeah, for sure. And it was interesting to see everyone really get into it and like put a lot of effort into this place, which some people might have found a little bit of a goofy thing to be doing, but it ended up being really, really fun.
Yeah. I think for the general audience, I hope some of the footage will get released at some point, so that you can see what scientists are like on the ship in the most goofy form. Because I actually had not really seen that side of scientists very often, so it was really nice to get that.
Yeah, that's true. And also, well, it turned out it was actually, I think it might be a really useful format of presenting your like ideas and work and whatever, because it's quite memorable when you see people just crawling on the floor or waving their hands and dancing and pretending to be choring as a team and stuff. So it's it can be a powerful tool, I think. Yeah,
definitely. Maybe we'll start a new type of presentation at conferences.
The science theater or something.
Yeah. Group presentations.
Yeah. There's a question from Anton79. There's do we have some good stories from this expedition? Did you have something in mind that you would like to share out of this?
I think one cool story that we have together is this just trying to figure out how to get this UHI. That's the underwater hyperspectral imager. It's a really big and heavy instrument, and we had to figure out how to get this on the ROV, which it's not a big ROV, but it's not small. So the instrument's actually 16 kilograms, and so we had to balance it on the ROV, and we didn't really have much material to work with in the field. So what we actually used were just empty water bottles and pee bottles. So we just attached them onto the ROV on the opposite side or on the same side as the UHI with zip ties and duct tape. And this counterbalanced the weight of the instrument quite nicely, so we were able to fly the ROV without too much disturbance. And I don't know if you want to comment more on it, but it was pretty cool just to MacGyver the ROV and put this, just kind of use whatever we had available to us, and we were able to make it work. And that's a lot of science is like that. You're in the field and you don't, something breaks or you have to solve problems and you only have what's available to you. So, Yeah, it was a good problem-solving exercise.
Yeah, no, I would agree. That was really cool, and the setup did get a little bit more sophisticated with this foam that we're actually supposed to be using for exploitation. But yeah, during the initial testing, it was a bit of using whatever we had available, and yeah, it was really cool to see that it actually worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I had one thing in mind. I think one thing that I found quite funny was that we had this group that were doing a transect around the ice floe and measuring also how deep the melt ponds are. And the person who was measuring the depth of the melt ponds realized at some point that the melt pond is deeper than she was tall, and then that she just all of a sudden was floating on the melt pond instead of walking. So that was quite funny.
Yeah, that's funny. Well, that's why we wear the immersion survival suits, right?
Yeah.
So, what kind of stuff did you do in your free time, Ilkka?
I didn't mention it in the start, but I'm from Finland, so I think my favorite thing to do when I had some time off was to go to the sauna. And we had the sauna there available for. So I think it was split so that there was on Wednesdays and Saturdays and Sundays it was for everyone, and on Tuesdays and Fridays it was for guys, and on Mondays and Thursdays for girls. So there was a chance to go to sauna almost every day. So I did enjoy going to the sauna, and also board games. I'm a big fan. So I was playing. We had a chance to, at least a few times, we had a chance to play Terraforming Mars and Settlers of Catan, and those I think those were some pretty cool things to be doing. So I
remember playing some games with you. It was really nice, and I often saw you in the sauna. It was a very nice, relaxing way to end your night and help you go to sleep after a stressful day.
That's true. Yeah, I did also bring my guitar, but I didn't really end up playing. I would have somehow it was nicer to spend time with the other people. No, that was one of my favorite things I have to say on the whole thing was like how much I enjoyed the company of other people on there, and how nice and social the whole thing was.
Yeah, I remember a couple of times we were up in the Blue Saloon singing and playing music, and you were actually playing the piano there, and you were doing really good. It was really nice to be a part of that, because I haven't really done that before, and I don't really know how to play instruments, so I just got to sing along, not very nicely, I must add, but it was nice to have the music louder than my voice so that nobody could hear me.
Yeah, no, those were really nice times as well. Yeah, I have to say I'm a little bit rusty with the piano, but that didn't matter either. Because the guitarists were so good that they managed to drown all my mistakes as well.
Yeah, Ingo and Matt were really good. Yeah.
Yeah. What did you do something else on your free time apart from sauna and gaming?
Yeah, I was playing a game called Waterball quite often. So there was a bunch of us that played this. There's a swimming pool on the Palastins, so it's pretty unique. It's not super big, so you can't really swim laps or anything. But they have 2 basketball nets on each end. And I would describe it as being a cross between water polo and rugby. So it is quite physical, and people get really aggressive. And yeah, I think I had a lot of bruises every time I played. But yeah, I guess it's just if you're aggressive, then other people are aggressive towards you. So, but yeah, that was a really good activity for stress relief for sure, and to get out some of the aggression. But I think out of the whole time we only had 1 bloody nose, which was quite surprising because it was a very physical game. And it was also nice to go into the sauna afterwards.
Yeah, I think you were one of the more aggressive people from what I heard, actually.
Well, I was only aggressive when people are aggressive to me, so.
Okay, fair enough.
But maybe that's right. I play ice hockey, so I think it's part of my natural instincts.
Yeah, fair. There's a few questions in here. Well, this Chicago Skywave asked, how did we get a chance to be a part of the Mosaic expedition? How did it work out for you?
Well, I've known about Mosaic for a very long time, and I was in Canada doing a previous postdoc position, and I just saw an advertisement for another postdoc in Tromsø, so I was really interested and I applied for the job. and I got the position. So it was just filling a job that would be my part of the requirements is that I participate in Mosaic. So the timing just has to work out, I guess, for some of us, and I guess some people were already in positions and they just happened to be there at the right time. And I guess also for our leg, because of the coronavirus, there was a lot of people that couldn't go. So then the planned number of people going, or the berths that were assigned, actually changed quite a lot. So a lot of people that were expected to go didn't actually get to go, and then they were just trying to find people that could actually go during these really uncertain times. But how was it for you? And you actually were on two legs, so that's even more remarkable in some ways.
Yeah, no, so yeah, it was quite similar to what you described about yourself, that I saw a project advertised for a postdoc position, and as part of that, it was said that going on Mosaic would be one important part of this project, and I applied and got the position, and yeah, we were just fortunate with the timing that such a big project was happening at the time that we were looking for new opportunities. Yeah, no, but like also, so for the first, I was on the first leg and now on the fourth leg, and I wasn't initially planned to go on the first leg, but then we needed to find someone to join from our group, and I volunteered and had the chance. So yeah, quite, at least for me, it was quite short sort of like planning time before joining.
Yeah, I guess there's a few people on the cruise that were asked maybe a couple days or a week before going. And
yeah, especially
that's quite amazing.
Yeah, especially now before Leg 4, that was quite amazing that people managed to join on such a short notice.
Yeah, definitely. There's another question here. You collected so much data. Is there a possibility to get some of the data and make analysis? I think, I'm not exactly certain how do you go about this, but I know that most, if not all, of the data are going to be released to the public. So at some point, it will be all free and open to everybody. And the only thing that you would need to do is to get in contact with the people that took the data or that were responsible for it, because to analyze the data yourself, you might need metadata or you need some explanation. So it's not really straightforward, but if you are interested in getting data, it is possible. You just might have to contact a certain person, and if you are really interested, you can contact about what I'm doing, and if there's data available, you can contact me or Ilkka, and we can get you in touch with the right people about where to go to get the data and these types of things. But there's so much data, and honestly, there are not going to be enough people involved in Mosaic right now to process and to really fully analyze all of that data. So collaborations and people willing to contribute is really a good thing. So if you are interested, just contact somebody involved in Mosaic.
Yeah, no, that's true. And I think there's going to be so if you're involved in any of the legs or with any of the people who are on the legs, you might have a chance to get access to the data earlier. But I think there's an embargo of, is it for 1 year, during which all this data is going to be uploaded to the Pangea database, and it should be available through there after some time. But yeah, meanwhile you can get in touch and try to get some collaborations started regarding this. Yeah. A few more.
Yeah, okay, there's the one about how we got started, but let's answer this one first. The interested in ICE data, who is better to contact for it? Depends on what kind of ICE data, but if you send an email to either Ilkka or I, more specifically what you're interested in, you can send us a message on Instagram, and we can send you our emails, and we can relay you to the right person. So just get in touch with us, and we'll be able to get you that information.
Yeah. So we'll just say our emails here. Mine is ilkka.lehto Oh, so ilkka.matero@awi.de. And yeah, if you just send me an email and I can try and yeah, describe on what kind of data you're interested in, and I can try and find the right person for you to contact.
Yeah, my email is benjamin.lange, so benjamin.lange @npolar.no, so N as in Norwegian.
Cool.
And there was another question about how we got started about did we study marine science or just physics? And for me, I actually didn't start marine science until my master's. I studied environmental science, geographic information systems and remote sensing for my bachelor's, and then I went into sea ice geophysics for my master's, and then sea ice biophysics for my PhD.
Yeah, for me, it's I started on physics for my bachelor's, and then did sea ice geophysics for my master's, and then I actually went to do continental ice sheet modeling and paleo modeling for my PhD, and now got back to doing sea ice physics after my PhD just 2 years ago.
Yeah, there's a large mix of people because for your bachelor's, not everywhere offers marine science, or master's programs don't offer marine science specifically. And for sea ice, there are no real set programs, and not yet anyways. There are some courses, but no set programs for that. So it's not a straight line to get into sea ice research, that's for sure. You just need to know the right people or have the right interests and contact somebody, and usually you can get into Arctic or polar research just by asking somebody.
There's a question about, is a PhD required for such a project? I think most people were either doing their PhD studies or postdocs or older or more senior scientists. So I don't think there's like a strict requirement per se, but oh yeah, what would you say?
Yeah, I think for this specific project, most people had PhDs that were on the legs. But in general, a lot of the cruises that you go on, there are a lot of engineers and technicians involved, so it's not necessary, but you would need some form of technical background or engineering. Electrical engineering is always a good one, or mechanical engineering, computer engineering. These types of things are always good to have if you want to get into that.
And yeah, with a PhD in chemistry, and if you were doing chemistry of the Arctic waters or the sea ice or chemistry of the atmosphere, I'm sure there were people from those kind of backgrounds as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess we're on the 30-minute mark. So I think we answered most questions that I saw. Did you have anything else you wanted to add, or are there any questions we missed, Ilkka?
I think there's something that came. What was the best chapstick for cold weather? And I would say that we were not really in cold weather. We basically on Lake 4 we had pretty much constantly the temperatures were around 0 degrees Celsius, so we didn't have to experiment with chapsticks. So I wouldn't know.
Yes, but you were on leg 1, so you experienced a completely different side as well. So what did you think about leg 1? Did you have to use some special chapstick?
No, I think I had a small jar of Vaseline, and I was using that like a petroleum jelly.
So I have experience from previous expeditions in really cold weather, and I would say the best chapstick is to grow a long mustache that covers your lips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. No, I think that's all from what I had in mind. So yeah, thanks to everyone for tuning in. And yeah, the next coffee break will be on Thursday, the 5th of November at 4 p.m. So yeah, that'll be in a week's time. Oh no, that's in a month. And yeah, the participants will be announced on Instagram soon. And
yeah, I'll just second what Ilkka said. Thanks everybody. It was and thanks Ilkka. It was nice talking to you again. I hope we get to see each other sooner than later.
Yeah, hope so too.
And yeah, we'll see everybody that's following us.
Oh, there's one more thing in here. If you want to follow the expedition live, the people are now coming back, and they'll be coming back on the 12th of October, and you can follow the ship track on follow.mosaic-expedition.org. And yeah, in a bit more than a week, they'll be back here in Bremerhaven, and this exciting expedition will be over, unfortunately.
That's when the science starts.
Yeah. Then we'll have a ton of data. Cool. Yeah, thanks, Ben.
Okay. Yeah, thanks, Ilkka. Yeah. Bye, everybody.
Bye.